Lucy, have you been to
Hey, Brad!
Hey, Brad.
Oh my gosh, you did it without me.
All right, you guys want to do over?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, Brad!
Hey, my dudes, Breadettes. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts.
Utah's original.
It's a pink sky day.
Yeah, the sky. It's pink and blue. It's cotton candy. It's pretty.
Okay. Let's see. I want to start out with a question, and then we'll get into our little story. So, is Hannah here? Hannah?
Yeah. She said yep.
All right. Hannah has a reputation of being a gymnast. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good.
Hannah, when did you start doing gymnast stuff? How old were you?
Like 4.
Like 4.
So like Josty's age.
And how old are you now?
14.
So we got a good solid 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many days a week do you do gymnast stuff?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. And for how many hours?
4.5.
Okay. Will you get your calculator out for me? So when you were 4 years old, you probably weren't quite doing it that much, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've gotten more and more involved. But will you do some math for me?
Sure.
Will you do 4.5 hours
Okay.
and times that by 5 days a week?
Okay. And I get 22.5.
Okay, and then multiply that by, let's say, 50 weeks a year. How many hours is that?
1,125.
Now multiply that by 10.
11,250 hours.
So Hannah, I don't think you've quite done it that many hours, but I bet you're getting pretty close to 10,000 hours.
You're probably like
Okay.
us by now.
All right, and I don't know. I would like to know more, but I would bet that Hannah's a pretty good gymnast. What do you guys think?
I'm assuming.
Okay.
Probably.
So we're going to talk about a book I haven't read, actually. I'm wanting to read it, but I haven't read it yet. But I've read some parts about this, and it's gotten me interested in this book. And it's a book by a guy named Malcolm Gladwell, and it's called Outliers, okay? And in this book, he talks about the 10,000 hour rule, okay? And he gives some examples. I'm going to give you one of them. And one of those examples is, have you guys ever heard of the Beatles?
Yes.
I hope so. Okay. The Beatles were like Taylor Swift of your grandparents'
We all
generation.
know who the Beatles are.
Okay, good. All right. I'm glad to hear that. So, when the Beatles came to the United States, it was 1964, okay? And they came here and they just absolutely like dominated overnight, okay? Because people didn't know who they were before that in the United States largely, but they came here and they just like killed it right away. And everybody was like, oh, they're just the best, they're so amazing. But people didn't realize that the work that they had put in over in England, which is where they're from, and they had been playing in nightclubs since 1960, so for 4 years at least. And the nightclub schedule they were on was 7 days a week for 8 hours, okay? So they got to their 10,000 hours pretty quick because they were doing it every day for so long. They had, it was estimated that they had played together 1,200 times before they even got to the United States, okay? So they were really good. It's just nobody knew it. Nobody knew how much work went into it. So the 10,000 hour rule is this, okay? According to this author, he said to really become an expert at something, it takes about 10,000 hours or about 10 years of putting in the time to really be an expert at something. So I want to tell you that for 2 reasons. One of those reasons is you guys are 12, 13, 14 years old. If you're lucky and you started really young, you might be close to that 10 years, but most people can't become an expert at something until quite a bit older because they've got to put in the time. So be patient with yourselves, okay? It's really difficult to be an expert at something when you're in your early teenage years. And you'll get a lot better as you continue on. But the second part is that you've got to put in that effort if you want to be really good at something. And anybody who you could talk to about that you really look up to, that's really good at certain things. We could talk about all the things that you guys are interested in. You all have skills and talents and so forth, but none of you were. Hannah wasn't born a gymnast, right? She wasn't just like a toddler and going, I'm doing backflips and stuff like that. Maybe her mom thought so in her belly, I don't know. But reality is that it takes a lot of effort. And even if you are talented at something, it takes way more effort to develop those talents. So that's your 10,000 hour rule. Just remember that. And your Thursday Thoughts with Brad. Thank you.
Bye, Brad. Bye, Brad. Love you.